All right. Speaking of yellow snow, there you go. There's a segue. One of the topics we talked about and we said that we could discuss was bathroom etiquette.
That,
And
yes.
well, now I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example from my days in corporate. I once worked for a manager, and he was at this point I think he was an ex-manager, but he was one of these fellows who once he started talking, he would just keep on talking, and there was like very little way that you could. He wouldn't stop. He didn't know when to stop. My Mrs. Bear, um, my wife, was in HR at that point at the company, said that in fact there was a kind of a code that some of the HR ladies had that if this gentleman came around to talk, they would tend to put a tampon out on the desk to deter him.
No,
Kind
they.
of. I kid you not. Yes, she said that was one of the strategies. Um, Thank you. Yeah. We actually used to have. We used to also have like some of us that had like we would ping each other over instant messenger, to try to have a excuse or to ask for help when it came. But anyway, so getting back to the bathroom thing, I remember one time going into the bathroom and going into a stall, as one does, and he was carrying on a conversation. And I went to the bathroom thinking he would stop the conversation. He did not. He followed into the bathroom and tried to continue the conversation while I was in the stall. Now that to me, that's a breach of bathroom etiquette. If there's a certain point, where you just don't carry on the conversation. It can be distracting and among other things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so there are rules, right? And rule number one is no talking. Rule number two is leave a urinal between you and the other peer, if possible.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. You
Rule
don't
number
go in and just take guys do not go in. It's this thing like and this is gonna be, I guess, I don't know, stereotypical or whatever, but women tend to like go to the bathroom together or they use that as a social thing.
yeah.
Guys go in and we leave space between, we do our business and go about our whatever else we're doing. Go back to drinking, whatever. Yeah. But
Well, one of the things I like to do in the bathroom, especially if I'm in like our watering hole,
where are you going with this?
I will go into the bathroom and I'll be in. If I'm in the stall, I will start making sheep noises.
You'll start making sheep noises.
Yep, I will be in there and I'll start going meh meh like that.
Has anyone ever asked if you're okay or something?
No, I've heard a couple of guys go, what the, and then I've had a couple of guys just bust out laughing. But the funniest ones though is when you don't hear a sound, right? No, they're there because you heard them come in, right? And then you'll hear them peeing in the urinal, right? And then you start making sheep noises and it's just like silence. They'll stop midstream, wait, start again, and then of course you got to make the noise again. Meh.
So you're saying it's a Silence of the Lambs sort of thing?
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yes, no.
So yeah,
Well,
then
maybe
come.
perhaps if I had made sheep noises, he would have left. But I don't think so. I don't know how but well, the other thing that's interesting, I mean, talking about as long as we're on the topic and going down the urinal hole here, is the positions that men assume at the urinal. There are
I I
multiple positions.
I never understood the need to pull down your pants to pee at a urinal when you are beyond 8 years old.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I have
But
seen grown men do this where they will hike their pants down just to the point that it's coming down and it's sitting on their hips, and then they pee, and it's like, Really, dude? I
That's what
mean,
you have zippers for. But
yeah, I mean, you're 8. Now, don't get me wrong. I have been the victim of winter fever, and there are cases where that may be necessary, but under normal circumstances, no.
not a call for it. No, I agree. Not a call for it. Well, the other thing too is the various positions. I mean, people assume there's sort of like the the no hands and like that, and then there's the just sort of relaxing there, and then there's the people who are the kind of Superman pose when they're doing it, or the ones who are like
I done the I need to hold, and yeah, that's not good. I did that. I need to hold myself up on the wall bit before when I've
right.
had
Sometimes there's a double hold up there.
a little too much to drink. I'm just holding on to the wall to keep from falling down, but I try not
Right,
to get.
trying to keep that. But it's just like for some men, I think it's a sort of thing of pride. They just sort of stand there like again the Superman pose, and it's sort of like, yeah, all right, dude, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah. Now, so
yeah,
when you're in like an arena, right, and you've got 80 dudes in line, there's 12 urinals, and right, that's when you take the first urinal available. You stand in front of it. You look straight ahead at the wall. You don't look left. You don't look
right,
right.
right, right,
Side height. You look straight ahead at the wall. You do
right.
your business. You zip up, and you get out, and then you go wash your hands and get out as
There
quickly as.
is a protocol.
Yes.
There is, and I agree, washing your hands, right? I mean, that's another one. People don't
Yeah.
wash their hands like really, but there is a protocol for guys. I mean, too, and but it was always awkward too if you were like in a corporate setting. You had the corporate bathrooms just have like two urinals, and there's two people standing there, and each other next to it. And it's one of those things. Okay, do I just stare ahead, or do I give a sort of a cursory "What's up," or do I do something else?
There are some of our coworkers that I would talk to if we were standing side by side at a urinal, but I would do it intentionally. Like we have a
To
mutual friend.
distract them from the business at hand.
We have a mutual friend, David,
Yes,
that
yes,
used to work where we worked.
yes.
And if we happened to be in the restroom at the same time, I would look over at him and make eye contact, and I'd be like, "What's up?" And it would screw with him. It would screw with him.
But it's one of those things. It's like, okay, do you make conversation? If so, do you make conversation with them? Do you acknowledge them? Do you do your business and wait? And then when you turn around to go to the sink, have the conversation. And I have to say, I've done all of those at some points. But you know,
But when I was in the Army, so I was in from 83 to 96, they started, that was when they really started cracking down and doing urinalysis testing, right?
uh-huh.
When I made sergeant, one of the things that sergeants will have is they will have what are called additional duties. You will have areas of responsibility and extra things that you have to do. So in one of my units, I was part of the urinalysis team. I was what the official term is, I was an observer. The unofficial term is I was a pecker checker. So
Yeah, okay.
my job is to stand there and make sure that you provide a sample and that you don't tamper with it. That is my job. Okay. Here's how urinalysis worked in the Army when I was in. Okay. So,
This is not going to be something we're gonna have to edit out, right?
no, no.
Okay.
So what would happen is we would call an alert, right? So when you call an alert, typically you would do this if you were on a division ready force status where you had a 2-hour recall because you're going to be deployed into a real world situation. But oftentimes you would have an alert to practice that or to get the whole company in quickly. And so uh, if we were going to have a urinalysis, they would call an alert. And in the alert notification, this was back when pages were a thing. There was an alert tree. Everybody had a list.
Oh, I thought you meant there was a tree you were all supposed to assemble.
No, no. So everyone would call the next person on the list, and if you couldn't get a hold of that person, then you call the person after that, and you say you couldn't.
It was a chain, basically, a communication chain.
Right, an alert chain, yes. And if this alert was for your analysis, when you got the notification, the message would be, "It's a piss test. Don't pee if you can help it, so that you can just come in and get it done." Okay. Well, I personally, I was stationed in Hawaii at Schofield Barracks, which is up in the center of Oahu, and I lived down in the military housing in Honolulu, down not too far from Waikiki. So I had a good 30-minute ride. Well, I ain't holding my morning pee for 30 minutes.
I'll just take a bottle of water with you or something.
Exactly, right? So I would go pee, and then I would get there. So as an observer, I can pee whenever I want, right? Because I don't have to do physical training that morning, because once we gather all the samples, there's all kinds of administrative crap we have to do. So I would get there. I'd already peed. Everyone would be lining up. I'd be in the latrine, and there'd typically be 2 observers at 2 urinals, and you'd say, "Next." And these are the guys in my unit. These are the guys I know, guys I drink with, guys I've been in foxholes with, yada, yada. We had this one guy, he was another sergeant, and he was a buddy of mine, and we socialized together, him and his wife and my wife and I.
Uh-huh.
And he would get stage fright, and I knew this about him.
Nervous bladder.
Yep. And he lived on base, so he didn't pee. So he would come in, and I would make eye contact with him. And he'd be like, "Oh, dude, come on. I gotta go. I can't go when you're looking at me." I'm like, "Dude, I gotta look at you. It's my job." Right. And I'm not looking at what he's doing down there, right? I'm just making eye contact with him. And and he's got to pee so bad, and he can't pee. And then eventually I'd let him off the hook, and I'd back up a little bit and whatnot. But yeah, that was a thing where you'd have to be a pecker checker. And I literally got paid to watch men pee into a cup.
Well, there you go. Things I never knew about the military service positions there. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, but talking about the nervous bladder, I mean, there is that. That's the thing, even if you're like in close quarters in a couple of urinals or something, sometimes there are people who are like, okay, you're waiting to hear the sound of who goes first. It's one of those situations. It's weird how your mind works in those kinds of situations, and how your bladder sometimes doesn't work for people.
Well, you learn very quick in boot camp that there's no such thing as modesty.
Right.
Because the bathroom stalls don't exist in boot camp. There are no stalls. There's a bank of toilets.
Uh-huh.
A row of toilet paper for every other toilet. They do it on purpose so that you have to, ask your buddy to pass you the toilet paper. Right? Because you don't just go to the bathroom whenever you want. You go when they say you can go.
Right.
And, so yeah, everyone's body just kind of gets synced up. And, typically after evening chow, everyone's rushing to the bathroom, and it's like, "Dude, pass me that when you're done with it."
Sorry, you said it synced up. I was thinking about women's periods syncing. So that's what I meant.
I did, along the same lines.
Well, I mean, I think I've told you this before. That I was a scout leader for many years, and we used to backpack out in the wilderness, and we had the hardest time sometimes getting the scouts comfortable with being in the bathroom with somebody else, because out there you had what you called red roof inns, which were essentially, this was like the scout ranches and the scout reservations and stuff, but they would have like these red outhouses, red roof inn, and they were typically either what we called pilot and bombardier, which was back to back. You had, outhouse, hole on one side and a hole on the other side, or there was pilot and co-pilot. So there was pilot and bombardier, pilot and co-pilot, and pilot and co-pilot. There were people. There was one kid. I remember that uh, he was on the spectrum, but he was very excitable, very excitable. And there was another scout in the pilot co-pilot there, and this other kid was like, "I really got to go, I really got to go," and the other kid's like, "Don't come in, don't come in, I'm just done here, don't come in." And the kid's like, "I gotta go, I gotta go." It's like, "Don't come in, don't come in." So finally, the second kid, the one that was waiting, it's like, "I'm coming in." He comes going there, and the other kid, Scout, comes running out, there, pulling his pants up. But anyway.